there are thousands of fields in computer science. So I did my computer engineering, and computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, telecommunication. There are mathematics. I know one of my best engineers I have worked with. Their major is not computer science. Their major is maths, physics. So it really does not matter much. The main thing matters in this whole thing is what kind of problem solver you are or how fast you can pick it up. Math becomes a very important subject in all those things. But in terms of field, usually when people perceive computer science goes towards the software side. But nowadays you have so many fields. So let's take a company. Let's take a company like Cisco Systems, right? So Cisco Systems is a technology company. We build the technologies. When you say the technology, meaning your internet you use at home, somebody has built the technology. So somebody has built the software part and somebody has built the hardware part. That's why you can use the internet at home, right? So you see the Wi-Fi router at home, or you see the the AT&T or whoever is the Comcast, the internet provider. All these are networks where something is running. So there's a lot of hardware is there, the software is there. So let's say Cisco System. So Cisco System has an engineering group where actually people write the code, where people actually build the hardware, meaning they design the chips, right? So what is the hardware? Hardware is like your phone. This phone has the chips in it, and then it has the iOS software that runs on it, right? So somebody has to write a code, and somebody has to design the hardware. So no hardware is useless without a software. That's how it works. So somebody writes the software, somebody designs the hardware, and then hardware has also many components. It's not just one component. A chip designer is a different person. The whole board designer is a different person. In software, so there are different fields there. As you go into uh, a company that builds a technology, they have a they have different jobs altogether. And there are, even in hardware there may be hundreds of positions, there's software hundreds of positions. So that's one, we call it engineering. And then there are people who would work there who would go, which we call it as software quality testing. So they are software engineers, but they test the code. These are called software testing. So when you go and apply for a job, somebody will ask, hey, you will be doing development work, or you will be doing the software quality testing? That's another job there. The same as for hardware, so there are hardware testers also. So these are engineering positions. Then there are people who in the company determines what what the product we need to build. Those are product managers. They, again, most of them will be engineers, or they have technology background or business background also. So there's a combination they use to build a business, like iPhone, or new iPhone is coming out, or the new Apple reality headset. Somebody has thought about that. That hey, this is a market we need to go to. Let's build that product. Those are called product managers. And then there will be technical marketing engineers. So these are like product management people. Then there's sales who actually go and sell it. They're all the technical people, or maybe have computer science background. And then there will be people who do services. So these are all different roles within a company. So computer science in general will give you the tools to go and apply for a position, which may be coding, which may be hardware. One thing you need to determine, what do you want to do? Because some people do not have the, some people want to write the code, they don't want to have too much interaction. Some people like to go, no, I would like to talk to customers, I would like to present. So that's how what you determine what you would like to pursue eventually. Obviously the baseline is you do computer engineering, computer science, or mathematics, any field you pick. At the same time, what you need to build is basically the skill set to determine what do I need to do in the future. So those are the things that you need to think about. If you take Google, for example, or Apple, very similar structure they would have. It's just different technologies you are going to use, cloud or whatever. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions you have?
Uh, no.
Okay. So the cloud, so where you live, this is the heart of the technology, Silicon Valley. Okay. So if you are in Silicon Valley, you are looking at companies like Google. What does Google do? Google builds search engines. Google builds this. They're big on software. Google also has a big thing called cloud. So technology. So cloud are the places where people go and, as you're in your home, you have your computer, right? Your laptop. The laptop has a hard drive. You put all the stuff here. But if I tell you no, let's put somewhere in a cloud, meaning somewhere else it's sitting, but you can access from anywhere in the world. That's called cloud. So Google has a cloud. Then you have Facebook that use build Meta, which is they call it now. So they have the Facebook app, they have social media stuff and all the other things. And then you have the Apple of the world, which builds the iPhone and other. Then you have Tesla, is also a technology company. It's a car, it's a technology car, right? It's basically it's a software which runs on it. It's a hardware that runs on it. So there are many fields you can go, and you can never. This is probably the best place in the world you are in. So there are some established companies that you hear, like Google, Cisco, Facebook. These are called public companies, and then you have startups. And startups are places where people go and build something new, which these companies are not building, right? So you may have so let's take Facebook. Facebook started as a startup and then eventually became a public company. So people go and work for, sometimes they would like to work for a startup because it's a different kind of environment there. You are building something new, you can do different roles, you can do product management software. So in a journey of, by the way, many software engineers, what happened? They start with hardware or software. Many of them, and some of them, may go to product management eventually, and then they start to take the role of management role or individual contributor also. Management means you are looking at set of people. As you go become senior, you start to take a role in that area. Some people pursue the business role in this. They enjoy the business part, building the business, how many iPhones we can sell, where we going to build this, who's the new market there. So those roles people eventually started to, as you start the career, I started my career, by the way, as an engineer. I was a software engineer. I worked for 3 4 years. That you know what, it's the you are very much confined to your work. Then I thought, okay, how the big networks are built. So I need to learn that part. So I joined a different group. I became an architect. So I used to go and build those big networks in the world and design it. Then I thought, okay, I would like to build products. So I went to product management. So within a company, you can go and change roles. It's not that you start with one career and then you end up the other career. That's not the way it works. Then I took a product management role. Then I take a technical marketing role. So I started building new areas. I started working on the business side. We need to build this business. I started to look at the business. Without the business, there is no product, by the way, in the world. Then eventually, since I had such different roles, I became a technology officer. So chief technology officer work is, I look in the future. So whatever is happening now, some people are working on it, but I'm going to look at 3 to 5 years from now. Okay, what is going the world to be? What things people will be needing? How we're going to simplify that stuff? That's what my job is. And then I would go and figure out an area. Then I would go and build the hardware, meaning some folks are, the hardware team is going to build me hardware, the software team is going to build me software, and then we're going to go a new area. So I'll give you one example. You have heard about the 5G?
Yeah.
So I did a lot of work on 5G. So the technology you see at homecoming, most of the work is from the network side. I drove a lot of work in that area. So I started that work in 2015. So this is how the technology people work. So in 2015, have you heard about the 5G? May not have heard about this. But 2050, you go back in time, so the technologist start the work 10 years earlier. So some of the work I'm going to do now is going to come out 8 years earlier for people to use. That's how the technology works. You conceive, you build, and you do it. So the key thing is, you start with one, you start to experience because you don't know what you want. Then you eventually will see, okay, you know what, that's not, it's good, but maybe you'll enjoy that part, but you know what, I should try something else. And one tip I'll give you is best to always try something new. Spend some time, 3 to 4 years. So the general time people spend in a role is 3 to 5 years. And then they would move on to a different role. And that's why you will see people switching companies also. And that's how they expand their area, scope, whatever you call it. All right?
Yeah.
Is this too much information for you?
No. Okay. I had a few questions.
Sure.
I wanted to ask about your career path.
Yeah.
So what is you said you work for Cisco.
Yes.
What is your title exactly?
My title is Chief Technology Officer. So it's called CTO. So that's my title is.
can you like tell me a little bit about your like job
So
responsibilities?
my job responsibility is I work. So first, you need to understand what exactly this is. So I work with mostly what are the biggest. Firstly, my work involves global work. So US is not just the only place I look at. I look at the entire world. What's happening in Japan, Europe, North America, South America, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand. So for me, my world is literally this is the world I look at. My job is to think about how the future of the networks would be and how do I make those things better so that from an end user perspective, you may get much better internet, much better cell phone communication in the future. That's what my job is. So technology, communication, networks advancement. That's what I look at, and that's my area. So one of my big area is 5G. So if you want to put very simply, I look at 5G networks and the advancement of 5G networks.
What does like your typical work day look like?
Typical work day, that's a very interesting question. So firstly, there's only work day. There is no such thing as any other day for me. So my day starts at 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. I would spend a lot of time in meetings. So some days, like yesterday, I was in meetings since 7:30 till 5 p.m. non-stop. I have been so I have an office in San Jose. I go to office sometime, but for me, it's really irrelevant where my office is, and my job goes by project, and I would drive things. So for example, currently work I am involved driving 4 projects. One project I'm driving the satellites, how all the satellites can work with each other, and how the big companies can talk to through satellites, and we can reach places where we cannot in the future. So that's one project I'm doing. I'm doing a project in the 5G side. So my day would start with firstly I will basically driving one of the projects. So I would talk to some of the folks, get the status of the work. Then I would talk to some individual people and talk about what area what they have driven. Yesterday I started my day, so I had a kickoff meeting with the core team that I have built. So what I would do, I've built a virtual team and I tell people, okay, this is the thing we need to do. These are the areas we need to go. You need to do this. You need to do this. I am looking after this, and this is the end goal. So I have to define the big picture. Whatever we are doing. So that's what people I and then there would be meetings for that project, some other projects. Then I would be some of the stuff that you do because you work in off corporate world. So I have to look at what of my bosses and my bosses are saying talking about it. So I have to join those meetings, which we call a staff meeting. So that's how the day goes by. And then mostly I would be then as the day goes by, so in the morning time I would be talking to Europe, Asia, because morning times are and then as the day goes by, then in the afternoon time I would start to work with the Australia team. Yesterday I was meeting with the entire Australia team, meaning Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore and those places. And then India is also involved in this. So when it's night time, I have to work with some of the development people. So I start to talk to them about this. Some of the engineers who are working on different places. So I'd be talking to engineers. I would be talking to customers. I would be talking to my business people. So it's a pretty mixed day.
So, what kind of skills are required to do like well in this job?
So for me, I need to have a very good understanding of software. I need to have a very good understanding of hardware. I need to have a very good industry. I need to understand the processes, how products are built, technologies are built, and then I need to understand people. Believe it or not, that's the toughest part. Technology is easy. Working with people is the difficult part. Because at the end of the day, technology is not successful without people. So working with people, motivating people, getting them the direction, make sure and ensuring that I get the right talent and identifying people. So one of the skill set you will develop with time is identify people. That okay, this person can do the job or this person cannot do the job. It's not just the technical part. It's where the attitude is, how is the team player. So working with people, uh, all those together, and obviously there's a lot of experience once you start to work over the time. You will get experience about things. I mean, failures may happen, problems may happen. How do you deal with this? How do you deal with with good things as well as with the bad things? That comes with experience. So you will realize eventually with time, okay, things may happen, some, and then what you need to do, what is your backup plan, how do you plan stuff. So a lot of planning, experience, people, technology details. I read a lot. I work a lot still. I talk to many people who are experts in the industry. How do you get the information? How do you get to the problem? And the last part is one of, at least in my job, the big challenge is there's a lot of ambiguity. You don't really know what is out there. So figuring out that part, eventually figuring out the business part, that what is going to be beneficial for the people as well as from business sense, and then recommending it to the group that this is what we need to build. So those are the skill sets required.
What are some things that you like love about your job?
You cannot do this job if you don't love it. Let's just put it this way, because you have to be passionate about it. I am very much passionate about technology. I have a I read things, I see, and every day I go to job, I love it. I Because I'm working on satellites, I'm looking at all this how this Leo and how these satellites work together, what we need to do, and it's just fascinating. So uh, because I'm pretty old now, so I have seen the world when the internet. You know how much time it used to take for one software to download a very small software, the entire night when in 1994. You know that? So this one software you download, which takes literally 2 minutes today, or probably a minute, it used to take entire night because it used to be a modem. It's literally used to download at the space that even the picture, right? If you click a picture, it used to take at least 5 minutes to open the entire picture. So the world, but what you, so that part from where there, now we are in a world, there's a whole, do you know that there's a cables in the oceans which connect all the continent? Do you know that? That's
No.
how you are connected. Everywhere there is a wire, there's a fiber optic cable. So we live in a world which is super connected. Now you can go, you can talk to anyone. The video is everywhere. Now we are going to the virtual reality. It's so fascinating to me. I still so passionate, and I love my work, and I enjoy new stuff. Yes, it's not always fun. Sometimes there are challenges, obviously people challenges, and all the other stuff. But for whatever you do in the world, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it, because you can do this for a job. Long term, you cannot do that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the people I work with, I'll tell you one of the guys I was talking to. They are geeks. They are in their really 55 and 60, and that guy would be spending. They go and curiosity, and they would go and build stuff. So you see all the technologies around you. There are people who are really technology geeks who have devoted their life, including me. So our lives go by building new stuff, and the fun part is what gives me the gratification when I see something out in the world. So some of the things we have built is all over the world. So the things I was working in 2015 in 5G is pretty much all over the world now. So it gives you a, nobody knows your name, but it gives you a lot of pleasure. Like the doctor gives you prescription and drugs and everything is good. For us, it just is so gratifying that people can access high speed internet everywhere. And it's not just internet, by the way. You have to understand that part. Internet is education. Internet is health. Internet is people is coming out of poverty. So it's the entire development is internet. So for us, that's the good part. That's what we feel good about.
Are there some things about your job that you like? What skills did you have when you started this job, and like, how did they develop?
So when I started my career, so to give you a background, I did my computer engineering, but I did not do it for computer engineering from US. I did it from Pakistan. So I came from a kind of a kind of a third world country, so the system is different, the things were different. The thing that really helped me in my entire life is just one thing: don't give up. You keep on trying. That's the only thing. If you are The key part is you need to be passionate, and passion needs to you go and continue to solve the problem. Don't just give up. The moment you start not giving up and something you believe in, you will find a way. And that's what it is at the end of the day. So when I started my career, I was working with some of the best people around you. When you go to a job, by the way, it's not just it's you go when you work, then you have to have look at promotions. You need to be measured along people. So, and the industry I'm in, people are, by the way, fired all the time. Just to let you know, you have heard about the layoff thing, right? The terminology you've heard means you are fired. You know how many people I've been in Cisco in 23 years now. Since I joined Cisco in 2001, and since this time, every year Cisco has been laying off people in thousands. And we are still 80,000 people in the company, and they continue to lay off. So you have to survive in a very cutthroat competition, just to let you know. So it's not that passion is one thing, but you need to be there first, otherwise there's no job. So from skill set perspective, you need to be curious, you need to be passionate, and then you need to work in the right direction, and you need to be aware what's going on. So it all comes with the passion. If you're passionate about something, you will figure out a way. But that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's
Make sense?
yeah. How many hours do you like put in a day, and like what's your work-life balance?
That's a very tricky question, by the way. This people who, whenever you see people going up the career ladder, they will have less and less time at home. Pick any career. There is no balance. Is what we look at is how how am I going to do my I'm going to just spend a day, and work is my life, and not me, by the way, people all around me. I can work whenever I want. I have the flexibility, so I can work late, I can work early, because so in terms of work is my work hours is 12 to 14 hours. But don't get scared, because just the way, because I'm looking at many things. Not everybody has to do that thing. The key part is you should be happy what you are doing. So once you are happy, people around you is happy. Okay. So passion is one, but at the same time, I'll tell you one more thing in technology world. Money is not bad. And in life, what you will realize that that you should enjoy what you are doing, and you should have resources that makes everything around you better also. Technology world, one of the reason people live in Silicon Valley, by the way, and and why you think that all these people in Google and Facebook and others are there, they have a very good compensation. They can afford a lot of things. When you can afford a lot of things, you can have fun also. So it's not a traditional world that you need to just think about that I have to spend 5 o'clock is not your cutoff time. Let's put it this way. So you define your day, you define your work, and that's what the flexibility what you get. So hours are it's been long hours. So some when I was started my career, there was no weekend also, just to let you know. So I would be working even now. Sundays I would go and start to plan my day. I would work depending on what schedule I have, but it's definitely more hours than people who are working 9 to 5 for sure.
You said you like got like your education in Pakistan. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So I did my computer engineering from there. So I did in the computer engineering. What I did is a 4 years degree, and that's accepted here in US.
Yeah.
And so computer engineering basically what it does is, and again as I said, is the cool part about the technology is that it's the same for everywhere in the world. Technology doesn't change. Technology has the same language. So that and the challenge, but basically when you are coming from countries, the resources are not there as in US. You have to realize that part. US has humongous resources. I tell my kids all the time, they are lucky. They have things that I cannot even imagine about. The a little bit benefit of not having that much resources is you have to go and find the resource. So once you do, so that helps you with the skill set. So yeah, so I did a lot of work. Internet was new at that time, by the way. In so I did my engineering, completed my engineering in 1999. So the 4 year degree is like in 1995, 1999. Internet came around 1994 time frame. In that era, meaning for publicly, it was there for some time. So the time that I spent, which helped me a lot because I built a lot of internet technologies expertise. So that part basically I developed there.
So how come you chose computer science as your major?
That's a very good question. Why did I choose computer engineering? Because I thought at that time I could have gone to electrical engineering. So people wanted to do things which everyone was doing. So everyone told me, computers is new, there is no job, go for electrical engineering. It's very, you know, it's been there for some time. You know what I thought at that time? If something is new, but the world is going to be computers. So new doesn't mean it's bad. New means it has a lot of potential to grow. That's why I picked computer engineering because it was new, a lot of unknowns, and see where the world is. So the world we are in right now. So the year that the in 90s, it was a communication, let's say communication revolution. Internet was a communication revolution. From 2000 to 2010, that decade was the mobile revolution, iPhones and all the and the video revolution. The revolution which we are going through right now is the artificial intelligence. So you can see this, it's very fascinating. Now you can see, you can have a chat GPT and you can write the entire thing for you. It is just the beginning. Eventually, it's always been. Have you seen Westworld, by the way, in HBO? That program talks about the robots, and they were these human has always has a fascination of artificial intelligence since 40s, since these discussions have been there. So so there's a lot to come. So that's the reason I picked computer engineering, to answer your question.
What were your like other job experiences before this one?
Cisco has been kind of my first job. I worked at an internet company, which was a Disney company called Go.com. It's a Walt Disney. It's the internet side of the thing. The search engine used to be InfoSeek. That's where I started working for 6 months, 7 months. But and with all, Cisco may be my only job. But in Cisco, it's my fourth or fifth job, by the way. So because I've been changing jobs, and if you go to a company, it's not just one job. It's you can switch as you switch jobs. It's different places.
Did you have any online trainings that like you found helpful in your career?
I read a lot. So YouTube has so much stuff. I still go and read it. The only thing I just make sure that I look at the things that are authentic. I don't believe there's a lot of people, because of the money factor, they just so I go and look at YouTube. Coursera is a great place for training, for courses. Obviously, Cisco has its own stuff, and then Coursera. There's another one, EDX, edX. That's also a good one. Uh, Udemy and others. So range of stuff I look at, and then I follow some of the people whom I know, they if they write something in some journals like IEEE. So depending on what I need, I would go and write it. Sorry, read it, and then I also write the stuff now. So I do a lot of book reviews, and then people who write the books, so they would send it to me. I would read it and then tell me whether. So this way, that's another part for me, learning part too.
Do you have any like life lessons for me to be successful?
So here is my so firstly, uh, one thing as I said earlier. Firstly, find what you like. Number one. Secondly, be curious and don't give up on things, because We have so much resources. It's just the time that you just need to be, keep figuring it out. And it's okay to be, and life is full of ups and downs. That's perfectly fine. As long as you are healthy, as long as you can think, as long as you have the capability to do things, meaning you're physically healthy, you can do anything in the world. And life, one thing I'll tell you, life is a marathon. When people say this, I have gone through this, so I can tell you this now. I have seen people who have gone fast, pretty, the career fast. At the same time, they came down fast also. So be consistent. That's the most important thing. And you keep on hearing these stories. People, I whatever you read out, this actually, when you go through the life, you will realize that those things are very true. Be consistent. Just keep on doing the right thing. And one thing, don't ever try to take shortcut. All these, and you'll be so funny. You see all those YouTube videos, and either it's making money or career, you can do things. There is no shortcut in life. It's boring, but it's a long, whenever you do long term thing, you will always be successful. Always be. I would guarantee it. Yes, there may be some, challenges in the middle, but that's okay. Long term, you will do the right thing, and don't just follow the masses. If everyone is doing it, it doesn't mean it is right. So if like your 10 friends are doing something, then this is the right way to do it. No, you have to think on your own. So be analytical, and sometimes it's good to think why it is, and question things, right? If you are family or others or whoever, or you hear something, you should always question, is it the right thing to do? Maybe not. Just because somebody has told me, it doesn't mean it is right. So question it, be consistent, right? uh, Come up with your own opinion. You'll be surprised that 80% of the people don't have their own opinion. They listen to the TV, they listen to someone and give their opinion. You have to own your own opinion. And yes, the last thing I would also say is extremely important. Make decisions. Decision making is the single most important thing. And it's okay to make the bad decision, by the way, but own your decision. The people who would fail in the life all the time, they can never grow. People cannot make decisions. So if you cannot make decisions, you have a problem. It's okay to make bad decisions, but you have to make a decision, good or bad. You know what you will do? You will learn with your decisions. Once you own it, yeah, I made a bad decision. You learn it, and then you go. Okay?
Yeah. I wanted to thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah.
And yeah, and if you have any questions in the future, reach out.
Yeah, definitely.